You've always felt a little different, haven't you? Not better, just apart. Like you're living in the same world as everyone else, but through a different lens. While others rush to fill silences with chatter, you find comfort in the quiet. While most seem to crave company, you often crave escape. And for the longest time, you wondered if something was wrong with you. Why you didn't feel the same thrill in crowds, the same longing to belong. Why parties drained you. Why small talk felt like torture. And why, when everyone else was obsessed with being liked, you just wanted to be left alone.
But what if this wasn't a flaw? What if this was a sign of intelligence? Not the kind measured by IQ tests or grades, but the rare kind that Schopenhauer described. A mind so full of its own substance that it finds little nourishment in the company of the ordinary. Schopenhauer didn't just tolerate solitude, he revered it. He believed that the more intelligent a person is, the less they seek the company of others, not out of arrogance, but necessity. Because when your inner world is rich, vivid, and complex, the external world often feels like noise, distraction, a dilution of the self. Ordinary people think merely how they shall spend their time, he wrote. A man of talent tries to use it. And if you're truly using your time, thinking deeply, observing quietly, creating, questioning, growing, how much of it is left for shallow conversations and performative friendships? The truth is, most of what society calls social life is a carefully disguised performance, a theatre of masks, where people pretend to enjoy what they don't, to impress those they don't respect, in places they don't even want to be. And the intelligent mind, the sincere mind, can feel the falseness in all of it. The forced smiles, the unspoken competition, the draining dance of status and conformity. So you start pulling away, not because you hate people, but because you love your peace more. You stop responding to invitations that feel obligatory. You stop explaining your need for space. You begin to prioritize depth over company. And slowly, you build a life that is not loud, but whole. A life that doesn't need to be filled with events and faces and approval, because it's already full on the inside. But this path isn't easy. It's lonely. You begin to notice the subtle punishments society has for people who don't play along. You're called distant, cold, antisocial. You're made to feel guilty for not being friendly enough, present enough, or fun enough. People misunderstand your silence as judgment and your solitude as sadness. But what they don't understand is that you're not isolating yourself. You're protecting yourself. Because when your mind is constantly analyzing, questioning, creating, and seeking truth, you need silence like others need air. You don't withdraw to escape life. You withdraw to digest it, to find meaning in it, to preserve the sacred fire of thought that would otherwise be smothered in the noise of the crowd. And Schopenhauer knew this. He saw how rare minds are crushed under the weight of social obligation, how geniuses shrink themselves to fit into rooms that cannot hold them. He said, the more unintelligent a man is, the less mysterious existence seems to him. In other words, if you're not haunted by the questions of life, if you're satisfied by shallow pleasures and simple routines, you'll likely seek constant company to avoid ever confronting yourself. But the intelligent person cannot help but confront. They see too much, feel too deeply, think too often, and so they need time alone to process it all, to breathe. That's why Schopenhauer also said, a man can be himself only so long as he is alone. And if he does not love solitude, he will not love freedom. For it is only when he is alone that he is really free. Freedom from expectations, from judgment, from the pressure to perform, from the exhausting weight of always having to make yourself palatable to others. But here's the paradox that no one talks about. Intelligent people are often the most emotionally attuned, the most thoughtful, and the most curious about others. But they are also the most sensitive to disconnection, falseness, and noise. They feel everything, and that's exactly why they can't be around just anyone. They need conversations that stir something real. They need authenticity like others need entertainment, and how rare that is. So instead, they go inward, into books, into nature, in thoughts, into long walks and long silences, into music that says what words cannot, into solitude, not as punishment, but as sanctuary. But you've been taught to fear solitude. You've been told that wanting to be alone means you're broken, that something is wrong with you, that if you were normal, you'd be out there, mingling, laughing, belonging. You've been conditioned to believe that social life is synonymous with happiness, that friends equal success, that being popular equals being worthy. But let's be honest, most friendships are built on proximity, not compatibility. Most conversations are fillers, not revelations. And most people don't actually want to know you. They want you to validate them, mirror them, entertain them. And when you stop doing that, they leave. And that hurts, even for the intelligent. Because being wise doesn't mean being invulnerable. Even when you understand why the crowd doesn't fulfill you, you can still feel the ache of isolation, the sting of being misunderstood, the hollow space where connection should have been. But that ache is sacred. It is the cost of living with eyes open. Because when you start to walk this path, when you begin to value truth over fitting in, substance over appearance, and clarity over popularity, you will lose people, but you will find yourself. And isn't that the whole point? The intelligent person may not crave social life, but they crave meaning. They crave connection of the highest order, the kind of conversation that touches the soul, the kind of silence that feels safe, the kind of friendship where you can sit in a room and say nothing and still feel seen. And until that is found, solitude is enough. Because the greatest conversations you'll ever have are with yourself. The greatest insights come not from others, but from within. And the deepest connection is not social, it is spiritual. It is the connection between you and your own mind, you and your own soul. And if that connection is strong, you'll never feel truly alone. You may walk through life with fewer people, but those who remain, those rare few who see the world the way you do, they are worth 1,000 acquaintances. But until then, you walk alone. Not as a victim, as a seeker. And here's what you'll learn. The more you embrace solitude, the more it gives back. It sharpens your intuition. It deepens your creativity. It reveals who you are when no one is watching. It helps you unlearn the need to be impressive, to be agreeable, to be liked. And that is where real power begins. Because when you no longer seek constant company, you are no longer controlled by the fear of being alone. You stop chasing validation. You stop editing yourself to fit into boxes. You begin to show up fully, honestly. And that kind of presence, rooted, whole, unshakable, is rare. Most people live from the outside in. They shape their identity based on what the world wants from them. But the intelligent live from the inside out. They shape the world based on who they are. So if you've ever wondered why you struggle to connect, why you feel more alive in silence than in conversation, why your mind drifts away when others talk about things that don't matter, It's not because you're broken. It's because your mind is awake. And yes, it can be lonely. But it is the kind of loneliness that breeds wisdom, that makes room for beauty, that creates space for the truth to emerge. Schopenhauer understood this. He saw that most people avoid solitude because they cannot bear the weight of their own minds. They fill every moment with noise, with people, with tasks, not because they are full, but because they are empty. And the moment they are alone, that emptiness echoes. But if you are someone who can be alone and not feel empty, you are rare and you are free. So the next time you feel guilty for choosing solitude, remember this: you are not escaping life. You are diving deeper into it. You are choosing quality over quantity, depth over distraction, meaning over momentum. And in a world that celebrates noise, your silence is revolutionary. You don't need to explain your distance. You don't need to justify your boundaries. You don't need to feel broken because you don't want what others seem to crave. You are not antisocial. You are introspective. You are not distant. You are discerning. And if this path makes you feel alone at times, remember, Schopenhauer walked it. Jung walked it. Every great thinker, every deeply sensitive soul, every quietly intelligent mind walked it. You are not alone. You are just ahead. And that silence you cherish, that space you protect, it's not emptiness. It's the sound of your mind breathing.